I'm Jamie, you're watching Cavernoma Chronicles, and this is the vlog. The vlog. Since I had brain surgery, I've never actually had a chance to speak to someone who was diagnosed with Cavernoma and can't have the surgery. So Erin from My Invisible BFF said, do you know what? Let's have that chat. Let's speak about it. Let's find out what the differences are. Put it out there. Because there's bound to be other people out there who are going through this who won't have that opportunity as well. So here it is.
I don't know if you've heard of, there's one other girl who I know she's making the documentary.
I've seen a couple of posts on one of the groups where she's filming something at the moment, which would be interesting to see, because that's the thing with me doing this. I did this because when I was looking for what was going to happen to me, everything was a written blog. There was very little audio, video, and to be able to read something within the sort of first week or two of having my big bleed was really difficult. That's why I started filming. I figured if I'm going through this, other people must be going through this, and perhaps it'll help them, kind of thing. So yeah, to have more people now go down the video or even just the audio route, like doing a podcast, would be so beneficial to people who are in that situation.
Yeah, I'm finding actually like I've degraded quite a bit from when I was first diagnosed in September. My speech has gotten very affected. My certain autonomic things. I now have anyway, moral of this story is it's much harder for me to type and write just because it's just this energy that it's very sparse.
In your blog, you sort of you compare it to spoons of energy, isn't it, throughout the day?
Yeah.
So how many spoons of energy you'll wake up with in the morning, and it means how much you can do throughout the day. It's a great sort of way of looking at it, I suppose, because you've obviously said that you have good days, you have not so good days, you have bad days, then you have really bad days. Those really bad days, how do you get through them?
I think it's hard because now that my HOD is so prevalent, it's all those things happen in one day now, from when I wrote this originally. But the key to getting through it is just you gotta stay as present as possible. You never know what's gonna happen. So for example, yesterday I had my first stroke and neuro tai chi class. Right. It was so good. It was so awesome. I felt so good afterwards, and I actually asked my dad can we go out to lunch, which is such a big deal for me to even be wanting to be a human and sit down somewhere and so we did that, and then it was just we got home, and I remember just every step I took towards the bed was draining energy from my face, and it was a hardcore bad day. But I feel if I didn't stay in the present for those 4 hours, you lose it. I've had so many more days of in bed time than being social with the world, which is one of my huge needs, being social. So being present and riding the wave, you can't fight it. I'm sorry, but it's really hard. We call this thing Taz, for the Tasmanian devil, because it comes on so quick.
And that's the thing as well, isn't it? Because you can't do anything. It's all up in here, and there's very little that anyone can actually sort of give you medication. Like you say, you just got to go with it. Your blog, the writing on your blog is fantastic. It's really
so much.
It's just you read it and it's just a fresh sort of nice way of looking at it. It's a positive way of looking at it. Like you say, it's really tough. So, yeah, hats off to you.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm honestly I couldn't even show you the bad stuff if I wanted to, because the bad stuff is real shitty.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna be guess what? I feel horrible, because I can't, because I feel horrible. So then I just want to go with the funny and the light and the humor, because it honestly just makes me think creatively, and so opposite of what I deal with.
Yeah.
So that's really important. So you know how I myself am not a candidate for surgery, and I know that your blogs give a pretty detailed look into like before, during, and after recovery. So this is such a good resource for everybody with a cavernoma, and also like who has to have a brainstem surgery in general. So do you have any tips for making the process easier or like less of a crazy suck fest?
Well, it hits you like a brick every single time. The thing with my diagnosis, when I was actually diagnosed, was that within that conversation with the neurosurgeon, he said that, I could have surgery and I would effectively be cured. So it went from being hit from this side by a big, massive right hook to, hold on, there's a way out of this possibly. And then he followed up with, this is the most complicated surgery below removing a brain tumor. And then you get hit from the left-hand side and you're like, oh my God, what? And then you go, right, are you going to operate on me? And the guy was like, no, I'm not capable of doing this surgery. And he's just like, what is going on? And then you go, do you know anyone? No, I don't know anyone.
Oh my God.
So it's an absolute nightmare. But if your surgeon is saying to you that, you should opt for, or you should think about having surgery to do this, they don't do it lightly. They won't go for that without saying that you really should go for it, kind of thing. And you just got to plan for it. You just got to find your surgeon. And that's something I'm working on at the moment, actually. That was one of the hardest parts for us, was finding surgeons anywhere in the world that had specialists in this. And I keep seeing them on the forums, like certain names keep popping up, like Dr. Awad in Chicago, Professor Lamphy in Germany. There's Mr. Kitchen in the UK as well. And these are names that keep popping up over and over time. I want to put together a directory of like cavernoma specialists around the world. Not that I'm endorsing any of them and saying, you go to these guys, just this is a list of people who specialize in cavernoma. If you can find that, you can not only find surgeons and specialists in your area, but if you're moving from one area to the other, you can sort of use as a resource, am I going to be catered for there? I think that was the hardest thing for us to do, was to try and find someone who could, fix me. But I think as long as you've found that person, and you'll know who it is, like there was a couple of options when it came around to me, but everything pointed towards Professor Bert Lamphy in Germany. And once you know who it is and you've got that date in sight, just go for it. Just keep doing whatever you can on a daily basis to distract yourself from what's going on, and just head for that date and smash through it.
And I know you call it a demon raspberry, which I think is so awesome. Do you have any advice for someone who still is like inoperable, such like for me, for example, like if you cannot remove your demon raspberry?
There's a hidden community. I like to think of the cavernoma world as kind of like the Harry Potter sort of world, where he
like the Sorting Hat,
Yeah, exactly, that kind of thing. And Harry finds out he's a wizard and slips into this crazy world that's going on. And until you have cavernoma, you don't know this world exists. The only thing is it's not quite as wonderful as Harry Potter. It's a little bit sort of, it's a bit of a downer sort of thing, but
just a little
bit, just a bit of a downer. But there's a huge community around it, and in the UK, I'm not sure what it's like in the US, but in the UK, they've recently started up things called Caver Hubs, where they set up meetings in various areas of the UK. And if you have a cavernoma, you go there, you meet people and similar sort of thing, and you can exchange stories, advice, and that sort of thing. I think if you can do that, if you can find people in your area and just have a fortnightly coffee morning or tea morning or whatever, just a bit of support. The forums as well, get on the forums, the Facebook groups. They are an incredible resource to have, incredible just simply to go, I feel like this today. What do you do? How can you help me? Sort of thing. And people on there, I see posts that have got 100 comments after them. Because
it's
just
like
want to
a
help.
very active group.
Yeah,
That's the most active series of groups, and it's so important and useful. It's the most useful thing.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.